On today's show, she's back for part two from the hit NBC series Nurses, WB's Unhappily Ever After, and a whole bunch of other stuff. She's actress comedian Stephanie Hodge.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm back for part two, spilling more secrets. Brace yourself.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mike Rand Show, and please welcome back actress, comedian Stephanie Hodge from such hit series as Nurses, Unhappily Ever After, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Hey Stephanie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you so much for rejoining us.
I'm so happy to be here again.
And
This is
last
good.
time, so if you didn't see the first episode with Stephanie, please go watch the first episode because we ended it on a cliffhanger. So if you're watching, we must solve the mystery that you've been waiting for. And that mystery is in the last episode, we talked all about Stephanie's career in the beginning, as well as the hit show Nurses. So we're up to the point of Nurses right now. And Stephanie was there for season one and two, but she wasn't there the last season, season three. So I want to know, Stephanie, what happened? Why were you not in season three?
Well, they had brought in a new showrunner, and he sat me down and he said, "We're going to let you go because there's nothing we can do with your character. We can't think of anything to do with her. So we're going to let you go." They fired me. They replaced me with oh my God, why am I blanking on her name? She's
Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie Anderson. And we were sitting in a hallway after they canceled the show. And she and I were auditioning for the same thing with another woman. And the other woman got it. There were three of us in the hallway auditioning for something. And it was funny because I looked at her and I said, "Why are we even at the same place? Why are we here together?" And she goes, "I really don't know." And she said, "Are you mad at me? Do you hate me now because of Nurses?" I said, "Oh God, no. No, of course not. Who on earth would hate Lonnie Anderson for anything?" And she hugged me really hard and she goes, "Thank you so much." I said, "You don't have to explain anything to me. I've had such good luck since I'm gone from there." I said, "I think everything happens for a reason. And it was good for me. I hope it was good for you. And everything's great. There's not a problem. There's no problems." And she held my hand in the hallway until it was time for her audition. Who does that? Who's that nice? Lonnie Anderson, apparently. So that was bizarre, but that was really sweet, I thought. And I wasn't like mad about it, being like, "Oh, I really wasn't mad about it because good
Yeah.
things came."
Yep. I mean, everything happens for a reason,
I
you know.
believe so. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I wish, that it was in syndication or streaming or something. We don't see it anywhere nowadays.
No. Mm-mm.
Just like Empty Nest as well.
Yeah, that's true. Empty. Yeah, which is a pity.
Yeah, because those were both good shows and classics. I mean, hopefully one day, I don't know what the reason is that it's not somewhere, but hopefully one of those channels or streaming services or somebody puts it out there so we can see. And then another question I didn't ask you last time that I just thought of, I don't know if you would even know the answer to this question, but in season one, the theme song changed every single season for Nurses,
It
which is
did,
kind of
didn't it?
funny. Season one had the theme song with the lyrics, and season two, they dropped the lyrics. Do you have any idea why they dropped the lyrics?
No, I have no idea what they were doing with the music. It
Mhm.
was just as much as a surprise to us as it was to everybody else.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
was
know why
thinking
they were
maybe they
never
were just
happy with
trying to
it.
get a little more medical, like musical, like the ER sounds of the noises
Yeah, I
without having
think
the
so.
lyrics. I think that's
Yeah.
what they were maybe trying to do. But I did miss having the lyrics. Lyrics. It's always good to sing a theme song here. And actually, the other show that we talked about last time too, 13 East, had a great theme song too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
That
see, I
people
don't
remember.
understand.
I think people remember the theme song maybe more than the episodes, I would think. A lot of people, that's what they remember most is the theme song of a lot of shows too, if you don't remember certain things.
Yeah, that's true. And there's so many comics that do the theme songs. Theme
Yep.
songs as part of
Yep.
their act. Oh, earthquake, earthquake. Do you believe me? Am I here?
We got you. Yep.
Okay. I have a cat. Well, yeah. He just went through the.
Yep.
His name is Atlas. He's looking at me with scorn now. He's like, "You told on me. There will be scratches later. There will be biting."
If they ever wanted to do a reunion of nurses, would you be willing to go back and reprise Sandy Miller character?
In a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I have no ill will. I really don't have any bad feelings at all. I just
Yeah.
don't.
And then after Nurses, you did have another little short-lived series that was on CBS, and it was called Muddling Through, which also had Jennifer Aniston, who played your daughter on that show.
My TV kids do really well.
Yes, proud mama there. They grow up to
Yes.
be
My
huge
kids.
stars.
And you know what's really funny? Is she was so unhappy one night. She came to me and she was like really just sad because she was seeing this guy that was not a great guy for her. And she was sort of telling me about it. And I said, "Oh, honey, I just honestly, I swear to God, this is true. May God strike me dead if I'm lying. I'm not." Because that's a big thing to say, what I just said. But anyway, she came to me one night and she was so sad. And this guy was not being a guy, a nice guy. He wasn't being abusive to her at all. He just wasn't honoring her at all. And I said, "Oh, honey, don't worry. You know what? Everything happens for a reason. If this isn't working out, it's because there's something better for you." I said, "Just think about it. Look, the way I see it, you're going to marry Brad Pitt. You're going to marry Brad Pitt and be a movie star. That's just what I see."
And then right after that, Stephanie left acting and became a psychic.
I didn't say it'd work out, but you know.
And that's the end. No,
Excuse me. A little sinusy. I did say that to her, and then when she
Yep.
married him, I was like, "Oh my God." And then they got divorced, and then I was like, "Oh crap. That's
Oh.
my fault."
And then after muddling through, you
Yes.
got another hit series on the WB network. So this was a brand new network that just started. There were four sitcoms on their Wednesday night lineup when they just started, and you were one of the four sitcoms. And that show lasted for 5 seasons. It was called Unhappily Ever After. And
Yeah.
basically, you played Jenny Malloy, who was just going through a divorce with her husband, Jack. And he eventually moved into the basement of your house. And he had a little alter ego through a bunny rabbit called Mr. Floppy.
Yes.
So tell me what it was like. Um, Unhappily Ever After. How did you get cast in Unhappily Ever After? How did that happen?
Well, I got called in for the audition and went in and did it with Jeff Pearson, who's, oh man, I love him. He's so good. He's just such a good guy. He's done so much stuff, man. And you know how kind he is. When we're doing the audition, he faced away from the producers. and director and casting agent. He faced away and gave me the whole floor. That is the nicest thing anybody's ever done, just to give me full focus. So I just went in and read, and then they just gave it to me. It was easy, but I don't know. It was. See, it's weird. Every time I get these things, it's like it seems so easy, but it's not easy. But it seems easy. So I never understand why it seems so easy when you get them, but then when you don't, it seems really hard. Actor head. What do we say when things are sad? That's show business.
Yep.
But yeah, and then there we were with Kevin Connolly. See, my children do well. Justin Burfield, my children do well. Nikki Cox, my children do well. There's Bobcat Goldthwait as Mr. Floppy, which is nobody else could have been Mr. Floppy, don't you think? That was just he's the only Mr. Floppy that could have been.
Oh, that was so hilarious. Let's talk about these cast members. And this show was it was like a Married with Children. It came from the same producers, you
Yes.
know. So it was very funny, humorous. So let's start off talking first about Jeff Pearson. What it was like working with your ex-husband on TV.
Well, Jeff has been, Jeff. I used to watch Jeff on can't remember the name of the soap opera, but I used to watch him on the soap opera that he was on about this Irish family. I can't remember the name of it. So when he walks, I walk in and it's him, I'm already going, I know this guy. I love this guy. This guy's a great actor. So that was, just great fun. When you walk in and it's somebody that you like and admire, it's always great fun. You feel elevated as a human being right away. And then meeting the kids was great because they were just really great kids. And they were right there and they were so eager and present. You know what I mean? They were just right there, ready to go. And so it was fun. And the most fun I think about it was that there was no, well, we can't do that because this character wouldn't do that. Of course, this character would do that. Whatever it is, this character would do it. So there wasn't any problem with continuity. We had no continuity. It was one of those things where, I killed my mother in law and buried her under the avocado tree in the backyard. Of course I did. And that's perfectly fine with continuity. We find that out in one episode. It ended up getting cut, but I still know I did that. And that's still okay with me. So it was like that with those producers and those writers. There was just so much freedom and so much craziness that it was just like a class in chaos every day. And it was came together and it was always like that. It was always that much fun and chaotic and it was good chaos. It was good chaos. And with Bobcat there, it was a little extra chaos.
So tell us what it was like working with Bobcat Goldthwait. How much interaction did you have with him, even though he was playing the floppy character? How did that actually work as far as the voice? Was he like,
Um,
did he film
he was there.
he was actually right there then?
He was right there. And the way they did it was that the puppeteer was underneath the sofa with Mr. Floppy. So he's like this all the time. And he was a really, really tall guy. So it was amazing to me that he could get underneath that sofa in the first place, much less manipulate Mr. Floppy the way he did. And then there was the basement set. Then there was a little area here. And then there's the kitchen and the living room set. And this little area here is where Bobcat lived. And he would watch on the monitor what was going on between Mr. Floppy and Jeff, or whoever was talking to Mr. Floppy. And he would lip sync he would talk, and then the puppeteer would have headsets on, and he would work Mr. Floppy according to Bobcat, and they would rehearse separately, and then into the couch, into the space, and off we'd go. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you would sit down on that couch sometimes on the other end, and Mr. Floppy would pop up, and you would sit there and have complete conversations with Mr. Floppy about politics, TV shows, movies, your shoes, and completely forget that it was somebody underneath the sofa. They have film
It's fun
footage
and
with people
unique.
having conversations.
Any fun memories of Bobcat Goldthwait?
Lots of them. Sometimes he'd just go off, and and Mr. Floppy would keep up, and they would act out together. Like, Bobcat would act out, get frustrated, or we'd get behind schedule, or he'd just go off script completely. And somehow Mr. Floppy kept up with him. And I never figured they were just entwined, those two, the puppeteer and Mr. Floppy's voice were so entwined they could do that. And Bob was Bob, You
Yeah.
had to just be prepared for whatever came with Bob. And that was
Yep.
good.
And then Kevin Connolly played your oldest son. He played Ryan.
He's such a good actor. He's such a good actor. It's amazing to me what a good actor he is. And he would just fly through those scripts. He'd fly. And he had fun. He enjoyed it. We were we were unfortunately pretty close to the Seinfeld set. And Jerry had was very persnickety about where he parked. And there were several parking places Jerry thought were his, and yet we had parking places too. And sometimes Jerry and Kevin would get into it about parking places. Jerry was unreasonable. We had the same management, and I'm standing there going, "You don't get to park anywhere, Jerry. I think you having three parking spaces is plenty. Okay, get out of my parking space." Don't make me call my management. Don't make me call Kevin.
And then Nikki Cox played your daughter Tiffany.
Yes, she did. I thought we looked so much alike. Nikki. Oh, my little girl, Nikki. It was so fun. It would act, what was fun is that they made me her guardian when we had to go places when her mom couldn't come because she was that young when we first started. And so I got to be her guardian a few times, and that was fun. It actually was fun because she would hold my hand when I was her guardian. And it was like so sweet. I just thought that was the sweetest thing. She would hold my hand, and we'd like be walking side by side, and we'd be all dressed up, and I'd feel like like I feel like this ape next to her. But she's Nikki. She's like so pretty. And you could put anything on her. And they did. I mean, literally, I think they put like garbage bags on her one day to see how it didn't look. And it looked really good. Little belted garbage bag. Okay, looks good.
And
But yeah,
then, but both Kevin and Nikki, they were older than what their characters were, correct? Because they played high schoolers,
yes,
but they were older. And the audience, just like the Married with Children audience, I want to ask you this question, then we'll go back to discuss your other son, Justin. But the audience went wild when they entered the room, right? I want to know,
yes.
what were the audiences like at the tapings of the show?
Our audiences were good audiences. We had really good audiences. They were pretty high energy. We had good warm up. They were energetic. They were into it. They were always good laughers, which is really important because you need that. You don't need that canned laughter sounding stuff. But we had good audiences. They got a little rowdy, but they never got out of control rowdy. You know, Nikki would walk on stage and they'd woo, but they weren't disrespectful. You know, there wasn't whistling and catcalling and like that. And I think that we have to thank our warm-up comedian for that little boundary that he set, which was good. But they were good. They were good audiences. And sometimes the comic would ask us, depending on who the comic was, would ask us to say stuff to the audience, and I never did. Because there's nothing more terrifying to me than speaking to the audience. Now, if I were doing stand up, that's one thing, but as an actor, no, that's terrifying. That just terrified me. We're like, oh, hi.
And then your other son on the show was played by Justin Burfield, who he played the character of Ross. He went on also on Malcolm in the Middle. He played Reese.
Yes. They're doing they're doing that again, aren't they? They're doing another mashup of that.
Yes, they're coming back with it. Another version for the I think Disney Plus channel
Oh, that's
streaming
great.
service. Yeah.
I think Justin's been doing comic book stuff, I believe. He's a good guy, man. He's a good kid. He was a good kid. He really was. And when they sent him to school, he actually did his schoolwork. What? He's a good kid. He was a good kid. He was easy to work with. He really was. He knew his words. He hit his mark. He was on it. He was really on it.
Yep. And then you also had for the first two seasons Joyce Van Patten, who played your mom on the show.
I know. I miss Joyce so much. I wish she had stayed on the show. But they were mixing things up. Really wish she'd stayed on the show. That was wonderful working with her. Joyce Van Patten, please, please. You know what I mean? This is another icon that I got to work with. And then I got to learn from. I remember one day, Kevin and I and Jeff and she were talking, and Kevin said something about, I just want to do some art. I want to do art. And she put her head up and she turned around and looked at him and said, art, my darling, is for retirement. And I thought that is one of the funniest and truest things I've ever heard. They don't really pay for art that much. But she was great. She was a sport, man. There wasn't anything she wouldn't do.
Yep.
Just
Yeah,
incredible.
your theme song was fun. It was Hit the Road Jack, and you filmed
Yes.
little opening sequences there too. You and the ladies dancing to it. What was it like filming that?
That was fun. Those opening sequence things are always a whole lot of fun to do. Those are really fun. Those are great.
Did you have a favorite episode of the show?
Um, boy. Boy, it's so hard to. There were so many fun ones. I don't really have a favorite one.
Or
I
a favorite memory? Anything that was really funny that you can think of from the show that stands out?
Oh my God, when the kids were talking, doing their Jim Carrey impressions, and they were talking out their butts. All three of them were talking out their butts during an entire episode. It was terrible, and it was so funny. It was just the basest form of humor, and such an homage to Mr. Carrey. And they did it the whole episode, and it was so hard to focus, and it was just so hard to say anything. And the look on their faces every time they did it was just the funniest thing in the world. Especially Nikki. She's like so outside her element. Just went for it. And And little Justin, sweet little Justin, talking out of his butt. It's just that was a day. I think I hurt myself laughing that day.
And then during season 4, they killed your character
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
brought it right back. You
Uh-huh.
were a ghost and came back. So tell us about that. Why that
That
happened?
was that was funny. That was because I was pregnant and had a child. That was what that was all about. And I was going to stay home with my baby the next year because I was only going to have one. First, they told me I was never going to have kids. Then I turn up pregnant. What? Then they tell me it's a really, really rough pregnancy, but I'm still working. So then they tell me you got to, like, if you're going to have this kid, you got to stop stuff. So I had to stop stuff. And then I had her, and then they're like, when can you come back to work? And I had blood poisoning and I was really, really sick. So I'm on a treadmill trying to get healthy, work it through my system and stuff. And they said, hey, we have this great idea. We're going to kill you. I'm like, okay. Am I going to die in a tanning booth incident? Okay. And we're going to bring you back as a ghost. Yay. Do I get a fancy dress? Yes. Okay. I have the fancy dress. They gave me the dress. Isn't that nice? I have my death dress. And so they brought me back as a ghost. And the fun thing was that there was a an executive from Disney, one of the young executive suits from Disney, wanted to come out and explain to the audience and to the audience at home what was happening was that I had had this accident in a tanning booth and that I had been killed, but I was haunting the family. And so let's see what happens from here, kind of thing. And I'm standing backstage with him just before he goes on to open the show with this little monologue. And he's very nervous, and he's very proud he's going to do this. So I'm leaving the show. So I look at him and say, so what kind of character are you going to do to make the announcement? Are you going to be like really serious? Are you going to be lighthearted about it? Are you sad that she's dead? Are you glad that she's dead? Is the ghost scary? Are you happy about the ghost? So what angle are you going to take? Three, two, and his face went absolutely dead white. He hadn't thought about that at all. He just looked at me and went, Dag nabbit. He said, Dag nabbit. I said, you got it. Just go talk. And he went out there and gave a great performance. I don't know what was going on in his head, but he gave a very sort of Alfred Hitchcock performance. But man, I scared him for a split second. I don't know why I did it. It was just, I just wanted to know him. I wanted him to know how he felt. And I was dead after all. So why not?
So then it's basically because you got pregnant. Is that why you left the show to take care of your child?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew she was going to be I mean, right after I had her, my doctor, my OBGYN leaned over me and looked at me and said, you can never, ever, 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 ever do this again. Dead serious. As my husband's like being caught. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, so I went back and finished out that season,
Yep.
and then I went home
Yep.
and raised
And
my
then
little boo.
same thing, just like nurses. Any reason you can think of or know of that it's not on streaming or reruns or anywhere?
They ran it in Europe. I know they ran it in Europe because I've gotten residuals from Europe, but no. And I know Ron Levitt has passed away, so the ownership of his ownership is passed on to his son.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it may be something with his son.
Yeah, the way that it works with ownerships and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
of course,
the truth is that was a really fun show to do. And it was so
yeah,
much fun working with Bob and everybody.
yeah. And would you do a reunion if they hit you up for a reunion of that one too?
I would do that in a half a heartbeat. You bet I would. You bet I
Well,
would. Dead or alive.
now, over the years, you've had a lot of guest appearances on some many famous shows that I want to go over a few of them with you right now. One of them, you were a career counselor on Reba. What was it
Yeah.
like working with Reba McEntire?
Oh my God, it was great. It was great. I appreciate her professionalism tremendously because she's out to have a really good time, get the work done, get it done right, and get it done properly and quickly and professionally, but have a heck of a good time while she's doing it. I mean, that's the way you want it done. And I wore her pants. In that scene, I wore her pants. There's this weird rule about wardrobe. You don't touch the star's clothes. Nobody else wears the star's clothes. That's just the rule. And they were trying to find a pair of pants that fit me, and I'm kind of oddly shaped because, like, I have no rear end. And apparently, the Reba has no rear end either. And we're built the same. So they said, Reba came in and goes, well, if you can't find, look, she's built just like me. Give her a pair of my pants. And they just looked at her and she said, forget all that stuff. Just give her a pair of my pants. So I wear Reba's pants. It's kind of exciting because A, I'm the same size as Reba, and B, I wear Reba's pants.
Yep. And then you did some other guest appearances. I'm just going to name a few of them. You were on a little short-lived WB sitcom called Twins. You were on
Mm.
Bones, Scandal, The Rookie, NCIS Los Angeles, Perry Mason. And then I did see you in one of my other favorite shows, Young Sheldon. Tell us about working on Young Sheldon.
The people I was working with on Young Sheldon were bucket list people. So that was very, very cool. And that kid, oh my word, that child has got a future in front of him that's just all pearls and diamonds on the streets, gold on the walls. He's incredible. He's an amazing child, and he is just that smart. He is just that smart. And it was amazing because that was at the tail end of the pandemic. That's when we had just opened back up. So there's all the testing. There's like 3 tests. Then there's wearing masks while you rehearse. And then there's quickly shooting it and putting the mask back on. And then there's more testing when you go home and more testing when you come back the next day. And there's more testing. So under these incredibly, there was a lot of duress under those circumstances to try to shoot. And they handled it just so well and it was so lovely, and the way it was done was so calm and nice and friendly that it was a real treat to do that show. It was really nice. I wish I'd met the rest of the cast. That would have been really
Yeah.
nice, but I was so happy to work with the people I got to work with.
And what are some upcoming projects? Do you have anything that's upcoming now that you want to promote?
Yeah, I do, but I it's kind of a precarious position because I signed a non-disclosure that had more pages than purchasing property in Montana. So, yeah. And
Yep. So we
I
just know to be on the lookout for you then.
be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout, everybody. Keep to
Yes.
follow Stephanie on social media, and then when she's able to announce what she's doing, you will know then.
It's a full season. It's the
Okay.
second season of a show. And that's all I can tell you.
Okay. That's all she can tell us. So we will just be on the lookout for Stephanie. Everybody follow her. You want to know what she's up to? Follow her. And we
I'm going to
will,
make my thing public. So, yeah.
yes. Okay, very good. And
which
then
means
I
I'll
want
have to
to
clean
know,
up my life. Ah!
she keeps dropping that phone. She's got her kitty cat there.
I wish he'd come up here, Atlas. Quit just running by.
Is there anything that you would have told a younger version of yourself?
Don't be afraid. I've been so afraid so many times that I know I've hurt myself or I've missed opportunities. And I would tell myself, just don't be afraid. First of all, they're not going to remember. Second of all, neither are you. At least not clearly. So don't be afraid.
And one thing you don't want to be afraid of is the lightning round. And we're going to play that right now. I'm going to ask you a couple things, and you just tell me which one you prefer.
Okay.
80s or 90s?
80s.
What's scarier, zombies or vampires?
Vampires.
What's funnier, having a pie thrown in your face or slipping on a banana peel?
Slipping on a banana peel.
Would you rather be cherished or respected?
Respected.
Would you rather watch a comedian in a serious movie or a serious actor in a comedy?
A comedian in a serious movie.
Toilet paper, does it go over or under?
Over.
Ice cream cone. I'm sorry, ice cream. Do you want it in a cone or in a cup?
Cone.
Would you rather go to the beach or in the forest?
Forest.
Would you rather write a book or write a screenplay?
Screenplay.
Cable or streaming?
Streaming.
Bagels or donuts?
Donuts.
And would you rather have inner peace or success at any cost?
Inner peace.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us here today. What would you like to say to all the fans who are watching today?
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can keep watching all the old broads and all the old men because we like you.
And be sure to follow Stephanie on social media. Do you know your handles? Where can they follow you?
They can. Oh my gosh, I don't know my handles. It's everything's got Stephanie Hodge in there somewhere.
Okay, we will show that. I will show them on the end of the screen at the end of this episode. If you're listening to the audio, also go to the YouTube and see it on there as well, I guess, because I don't know how where
I'll
we are.
put my picture up on all my social media things and take that poor sad doll down.
Yes, you can always follow my social media and connect you to Stephanie. Because
Okay.
we're on Apple Podcasts. I know we are on SoundCloud, YouTube. I'm at official Mike Rand, as well as youtube.com/the Mike Rand. Facebook is official Mike Rand, Instagram Mike Rand, X is Mike Rand.com, just like the website MikeRand.com. Be sure to follow us, and we will talk to you all soon. Thank you again, Stephanie, for joining us, and
Thank
bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.